Robert Cormack is 7th. James Allen is P4. Best lap is a 1:29.449. Dominic Favagyu in turn 3 is 4th. Best lap is a 1:29.223. 50 minutes remaining in the session. David Forsyth is P9 with 10 kilos. Dominic Favagyu in Rene curve is 4th. Rene Robertson is 12th with 70 kilos. Glenfield in Ray Harl Straight is P9 with 10 kilos on mediums. Marcus Singentink is P13 on mediums. David Forsyth is 9th. Best lap is a 1:42.920. Doug Crosby in turn 3 is P5 on hards. Best lap is a 1:28.798. Jimmy Bowe in Ray Harl Straight is P10 on mediums. Robert Cormack is P8 on hards. Glenfield in Andretti Hairpin is P11 with 10 kilos. Marcus Singendonk is P13 on mediums. Rene Robertson in the corkscrew is P9. Best lap is a 1:29.833. "45 minutes remaining in the session. Dominic Fagagi in turn 10 is P8. Doug Crosby is P7. Marcus Singendonk in Andretti hairpin is P5. Best lap is a 1:28.077. Dominic Fagagi in the corkscrew is 9. Glenn Field in Andretti hairpin is P3. Best lap is a 1:27.385. Mag Arnold in Andretti hairpin is 13. Marty Jumol in turn 5 is P2. Best lap is a 1:27.306. Marcus Singendonk in Ray Harl Straight is P7. Rene Robertson in turn 3 is P6. Best lap is a 1:27.994. Brian Patterson is 6th with 10 kilos on hards. Best lap is a 1:27.663. David Forsyth is 9th. Barry Sale in Rene curve is 14th on mediums. Best lap is a 1:31.068. "40 minutes remaining in the session. David Forsyth in turn 6 is P9. Best lap is a 1:28.585. Martin in turn 5 is 3rd with 70 kilos. Best lap is a 1:26.961. Dominic Singendon in Ray Harl Straight is 1st with 70 kilos on hards. Best lap is a 1:26.849. David Forsyth is 9th. John Astrup is P2 with 50 kilos on hards. Best lap is a 1:26.878. Dominic Singendon in turn 5 is P1. Glenfield in turn 4 is P4. Martin is P3. Jude Shepherd in Ray Harl Straight is 17th on hards. Martin in the corkscrew is 3rd. Doug Crosby in turn 10 is P11. John Astrup in turn 3 is P2. Jude Shepherd is 17th. "35 minutes remaining in the session. Marcus Singendink in turn 4 is 6th. Best lap is a 1:27.552. Glenfield in Andretti hairpin is P4 on hards. David Forsyth is 10th. Rene Robertson in Andretti hairpin is P7. Best lap is a 1:27.629. John Astrup in turn 11 is 2nd. Jude Shepherd in the corkscrew is 17th. Best lap is a 1:53.493. Robert Cormack in turn 3 is 14th on hards. James Allen in turn 6 is 9th. Best lap is a 1:27.829. Doug Crosby in the corkscrew is 11th. Best lap is a 1:28.719. Marcus Singendink in Rahal Straight is P6. James Allen in turn 4 is P9. Marcus Singenden in Andretti hairpin is 6th. Martin Moll in turn 5 is P3. 30 minutes remaining in the session. Brian Patterson in turn 5 is 9th on mediums. Marcus Singenden in turn 11 is P8. Jude Shepherd in the corkscrew is P17 on mediums. Daniel Handke in Rahal Straight is P18 with 70 kilos on mediums. Doug Crosby in turn 3 is P10. Best lap is a 1:27.752. Rene Robertson in turn 5 is first on mediums. Best lap is a 1:26.601. Martin Moll in turn 3 is P4 with 70 kilos. Dominic Singenden is second. Best lap is a 1:26.676. Rene Robertson is first. Robert Cormack in the corkscrew is 15th on hards. Best lap is a 1:30.226. David Forsyth is 13th. Doug Crosby is P10. 25 minutes remaining in the session. John Astrup is P5 on mediums. Rene Robertson in Rene curve is second. Best lap is a 1:26.104. Marcus Singendink is P9. Richard Perkins in Rene curve is P8 with 10 kilos on mediums. Best lap is a 1:27.430. James Allen is fourth. Best lap is a 1:26.801. Richard Perkins in turn 4 is 8th. John Astrup in Rene curve is P6. Mag Arnold is P14. Best lap is a 1:29.671. David Forsyth is 13th. Best lap is a 1:28.038. Mag Arnold is 14th. Doug Crosby in Andretti hairpin is P11. Richard Perkins is P8. "20 minutes remaining in the session. Marcus Singendonk in the corkscrew is 9. Dominic Singendonk in turn 6 is P3. Jude Shepherd in Ray Harle Straight is P16. Best lap is a 1:30.706. Richard Perkins is P8. Marcus Singendonk in turn 10 is P9. Jude Shepherd is P16. Rene Robertson in turn 5 is P2. Dominic Favagu is 12th with 10 kilos. David Forsyth is P13 with 10 kilos. Best lap is a 1:27.928. Jude Shepherd in turn 3 is 16. James Allen in Rene Curve is 4th. Jimmy Bowe in Andretti hairpin is P17. Best lap is a 1:30.920. "15 minutes remaining in the session." Mag Arnold in Andretti hairpin is 14th. Best lap is a 1:28.750. Daniel Handke in turn 11 is P10 on hards. Brian Patterson is P3 with 10 kilos. Daniel Handke is P10. Best lap is a 1:27.601. Ian Weeks in the corkscrew is P19 on mediums. Robert Cormack in turn 6 is 15th on hards. Best lap is a 1:30.122. Ian Weeks in turn 3 is P19. Marcus Singendonk in Andretti hairpin is 10th. Mag Arnold is 14th. Best lap is a 1:28.354. Dominic Singendonk is 4th. David Forsyth in the corkscrew is 13th. Ian Weeks in turn 4 is P19. Marcus Singendink in turn 5 is 12. Ten minutes remaining in the session. David Forsyth is P13. The qualification session is at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in Monterey, USA. The wind speed is 3 km/h from the north-northeast. Brian Patterson is P1 with 10 kilos. Rene Robertson in Andretti Hairpin is P7 with 70 kilos. Doug Crosby in Andretti Hairpin is 14. Glenn Field in Rene Curve is P6 with 10 kilos. Brian Patterson is P19. Brian Patterson is up 13.31 in turn 4. Brian Patterson is up 14.16 in turn 6. Brian Patterson is up 14.86 in turn 10. Rene Robertson in turn 11 is 6th. Jimmy Bowe in Rene Curve is P13 up 26.23. Brian Patterson in Ray Howell Straight is P8 up 1.31. Best lap is a 1:27.714. 1.193 off pole. Martin Wall in Rene Curve is P7 up 0.43 with 70 kilos. Martigirol improved is second with a 1:26.611. 0.090 off pole. Rene Robertson is 18th. 10 minutes remaining in the session. Mag Arnold is P12 up 0.15. Mag Arnold improved is P9 with a 1:27.590. 1.295 off pole. James Allen is provisional pole with a 1:26.544. Jimmy Bowe is 18th. Jimmy Bowe improved is P13 with a 1:30.480. 4.185 off pole. Glenn Field is 19th. Barry Sale is P15. Barry Sale improved is 14th with a 1:29.215. 2.920 off pole. John Astrup is provisional pole with a 1:26.274. Daniel Hank is P6. Daniel Hank improved is 5th with a 1:26.609. 0.335 off pole. Rene Robertson is provisional pole with a 1:25.976. Jimmy Bowe is P16. Jimmy Bowe is up 0.77 in the corkscrew. Jimmy Bowe improved is P16 with a 1:29.527. 3.551 off pole. John Astrup is P2 with 50 kilos on mediums. John Astrup is provisional pole with a 1:25.940. Daniel Hank in Rene curve is P5 up 0.16 with 70 kilos. Daniel Hank improved is third with a 1:26.353. 0.413 off pole. Dominic Singendonk is P4 with 70 kilos on hards. Dominic Singendonk improved is P3 with a 1:26.119. 0.179 off pole. Robert Cormack in Ray Harl Straight is P18 up 0.58 on hards. Best lap is a 1:30.845. 4.905 off pole. Robert Cormack improved is P17 with a 1:29.665. 3.725 off pole. Glenn Field in the corkscrew is P10 up 0.27. Glenn Field improved is P5 with a 1:26.485. 0.545 off pole. Jude Shepherd is 19th up 0.61 on mediums. Jude Shepherd improved his 18th with a 1:30.191. 4.251 off pole. John Astrup in Rahal Straight is P1 up 0.29. 5 minutes remaining in the session. Robert Cormack in turn 11 is P17. Robert Cormack improved his 16th with a 1:29.456. 3.516 off pole. Ian Weeks in turn 10 is P19 up 0.74 on mediums. Ian Weeks improved his 18th with a 1:30.152. 4.212 off pole. Mag Arnold in turn 10 is P12 up 0.12. Mag Arnold improved his 12th with a 1:27.410. 1.470 off pole. David Forsyth is P14 with 10 kilos on hards. David Forsyth improved his 13th with a 1:27.524. 1.584 off pole. Robert Cormack is P16. Robert Cormack improved his 15th with a 1:28.981. 3.041 off pole. Brian Patterson is 14. Brian Patterson improved his P12 with a 1:27.202. 1.262 off pole. Dominic Favagu in turn 11 is P11 with 10 kilos. Dominic Favagu improved his P10 with a 1:26.988. 1.048 off pole. James Allen is 6th with 50 kilos. James Allen is provisional pole with a 1:25.768. Richard Perkins is P9 with 10 kilos on mediums. Richard Perkins improved his 8th with a 1:26.618. 0.850 off pole. Jude Shepherd in turn 10 is 19th up 0.71. Jude Shepherd improved his 18th with a 1:29.659. 3.891 off pole. Dominic Favagu in the corkscrew is 10th up 0.14. Glenfield in turn 11 is P6. Glenfield improved his P4 with a 1:26.110. 0.342 off pole. Rene Robertson is provisional pole with a 1:25.508. Marcus Singendink is 9. Marcus Singendink improved his P9 with a 1:26.690. 1.182 off pole. Jude Shepherd is P18. Jude Shepherd improved his 17th with a 1:29.438. 3.930 off pole. Barry Sale is 16th on mediums. Barry Sale improved his 15th with a 128.513. 3.005 off pole. John Astrup in turn 10 is P3 up 0.39. The qualifying session is now in overtime. John Astrup improved his second with a 125.525. 0.017 off pole. Doug Crosby is P11 up 0.21. Dominic Singendink in turn 10 is P6 up 0.11. John Astrup is P2 up 0.31 on mediums. Richard Perkins in Rene curve is P8 up 0.10 on mediums. Richard Perkins improved his 7th with a 126.133. 0.625 off pole. Marcus Singendink is 9. Best lap is a 126.690. 1.182 off pole. Marcus Singendink is up 0.22 in turn 4. Marcus Singendink is up 0.25 in Rahal Straight. Ian Weeks in turn 4 is 19th. Best lap is a 130.152. 4.644 off pole. The race session is at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in Monterey, USA. The wind speed is 8 km/h from the northeast. Rene Robertson is first. John Astrup is P2 with 50 kilos on mediums. James Allen is third with 50 kilos on mediums. Daniel Handke is fourth with 70 kilos on hards. Glenn Field is fifth with 10 kilos on mediums. Dominic Singendonk is sixth with 70 kilos on hards. Richard Perkins is seventh with 10 kilos on mediums. Martin Moll is eighth with 70 kilos on hards. Marcus Singendonk is P9 on mediums. Dominic Favagyu is 10th with 10 kilos on mediums. Doug Crosby is P11 on hards. Brian Patterson is P12 with 10 kilos on mediums. Mag Arnold is P13 on mediums. David Forsyth is 14th with 10 kilos on hards. Barry Sale is 15th on mediums. Robert Cormack is P16 on hards. Jude Shepard is 17th on mediums. 40 minutes remaining in the session. Race start. Dominic Singendonk is P1. Dominic Singendonk lost 5th to Glenn Field. Glenn Field in Andretti hairpin is P4. Brian Patterson in turn 3 is P8. Doug Crosby is 9. Mag Arnold in turn 6 is 10. Mag Arnold is now P9. Daniel Handke is 10th. Marty Jamal in turn 10 is 17th. John Astrup is 18. Glenn Field in turn 4 is P4, 0.5 behind Dominic Singendonk. Daniel Handke is 10th. Best lap is a 1:41.732. 8.437 off the fastest lap. Brian Patterson in turn 6 is 11th, 0.4 behind Daniel Handke. Daniel Handke is P10, 0.2 behind Mag Arnold. Daniel Handke passed Mag Arnold for P9. Mag Arnold in turn 11 is 10th on mediums, 0.2 ahead of Brian Patterson. Mag Arnold lost 10th to Brian Patterson. Marcus Singenden in Andretti hairpin is 8th, 0.1 behind Doug Crosby. Marcus Singenden lost P9 to Brian Patterson. Marcus Singenden lost 10th to Mag Arnold. Daniel Hank in turn 4 is 8th, 0.4 behind Doug Crosby. Brian Patterson is P9, 0.5 behind Daniel Hank. Dominic Singenden in Rene curve is 4th, 0.3 behind Glenn Field. Brian Patterson in turn 10 is P8, 0.3 behind Daniel Hank. Doug Crosby in turn 11 on lap 3 is 13th, 0.4 ahead of Martin Moll. Martin Moll is 14th with 70 kilos, 0.4 behind Doug Crosby. Martin Moll was 9.0 faster last lap. 35 minutes remaining in the session. Jude Shepard in turn 3 is 14th, 0.1 behind Martin Moll. Brian Patterson in turn 6 is 8th, 0.3 behind Daniel Hank. Martin Moll in Rahal Straight is 12th, 0.5 behind Doug Crosby. Mag Arnold in the corkscrew is 16th. Best lap is a 1:30.389. 4.472 off the fastest lap. Ian Weeks in turn 10 on lap 4 is 17th on mediums, 0.4 behind Mag Arnold. Ian Weeks was 10.1 faster last lap. Marcus Singenden is 7th, 0.3 behind Ian Weeks. Marcus Singenden passed Ian Weeks for P16. Brian Patterson in turn 5 is 8th, 0.4 behind Daniel Hank. Dominic Singenden in the corkscrew on lap 5 is 4th, 0.4 behind Glenn Field. Mag Arnold in turn 6 is 15th, 0.5 behind Jimmy Bowe. Mag Arnold is now P14. Marcus Singenden in the corkscrew is 15th, 0.1 behind Jimmy Bowe. Marcus Singenden passed Jimmy Bowe for 14th. John Astrup in turn 10 is 17th, 0.4 behind Ian Weeks. Brian Patterson in turn 4 is 8th, 0.4 behind Daniel Handke. Marcus Singendonk entering the pits is first. Doug Crosby is 11th, 0.2 behind David Forsyth. David Forsyth in turn 6 is 11th. Best lap is a 1:28.576. 2.659 off the fastest lap. David Forsyth lost P11 to Martijn Mol. Marcus Singendonk exiting pits on mediums. David Forsyth is now P11. John Astrup is P14. John Astrup passed Jimmy Bowe for P13. Dominic Singendonk in Andretti hairpin is P4, 0.4 behind Glenn Field. Brian Patterson in turn 4 is P8, 0.5 behind Daniel Handke. Martijn Mol is P10, 0.2 behind Doug Crosby. Marcus Singendonk entering the pits is 17th. Minutes remaining in the session. Brian Patterson is P8, 0.7 behind Daniel Handke. John Astrup in the corkscrew is 13. Best lap is a 1:27.799. 1.882 off the fastest lap. John Astrup passed Jude Shepard for P12. James Allen on lap 8 is P2, 0.3 behind Rene Robertson. Brian Patterson is 8th, 0.2 behind Daniel Handke. Jimmy Bowe is P15 on mediums. Best lap is a 1:29.728. 3.811 off the fastest lap. James Allen in turn 11 is P2, 0.4 behind Rene Robertson. Brian Patterson is P8, 0.5 behind Daniel Handke. Brian Patterson is now 7th. Ian Weeks is P17. Brian Patterson is P7, 0.2 behind Daniel Handke. James Allen in turn 11 is second, 0.9 behind Rene Robertson. Mag Arnold in turn 6 on lap 9 is 14, 0.5 behind Jude Shepherd. Daniel Hank is 6th, 1.3 behind Dominic Fivaghu. Daniel Hank was 0.7 faster last lap. Mag Arnold is 14th, 0.9 behind Jude Shepherd. James Allen is second with 50 kilos, 1.6 behind Rene Robertson. Rene Robertson was 0.5 faster last lap. Jude Shepherd in Rahal Straight on lap 10 is P14, 1.2 behind Mag Arnold. 25 minutes remaining in the session. Robert Cormack in turn 10 is P16. James Allen in turn 10 is second with 50 kilos, 1.3 behind Rene Robertson. Doug Crosby in the corkscrew is 11th, 0.9 behind David Forsyth. Doug Crosby was 2.4 faster last lap. David Forsyth in turn 11 is 11th battling Doug Crosby. Robert Cormack in turn 11 on lap 11 is P16, 1.2 behind Jimmy Bowe. Dominic Singendonk in turn 11 is third on hards, 0.5 behind James Allen. John Astrup in Rene curve is 12th, 0.6 behind David Forsyth. Dominic Singendink is third with 70 kilos, 0.7 behind James Allen. Daniel Handkin Corkscrew is 6th, 0.7 behind Dominic Favagu. Dominic Singendink in turn 11 is P3, 0.4 behind James Allen. Dominic Singendink was 3.7 faster last lap. Richard Perkins entering the pits is P9. Daniel Handkin Andretti Hairpin is P6 with 70 kilos, 0.6 behind Dominic Favagu. Dominic Singendink in turn 5 is P3 with 70 kilos, 0.3 behind James Allen. Richard Perkins exiting pits on mediums. Daniel Hand is P6, 0.5 behind Dominic Favagu. "20 minutes remaining in the session. Dominic Singendink in Rene curve is P3, 0.1 behind James Allen. Daniel Handkin turn 10 on lap 14 is P6, 0.4 behind Dominic Favagu. Daniel Hand was 1.1 faster last lap. Glenn Field entering the pits is 4th. Dominic Favagu entering the pits is 6th. Daniel Hand passed Dominic Favagu for 5th. Daniel Hand is now P4. Barry Sale is P18. Glenn Field exiting pits on mediums. Dominic Favagu exiting pits on mediums. Dominic Singendink is 3rd, 0.3 behind James Allen. Barry Sale in turn 4 is P18, 0.4 behind Ian Weeks. Barry Sale passed Ian Weeks for P17. Jude Shepherd entering the pits is P14. Dominic Singendink is P2, 0.3 behind James Allen. James Allen is P2, 0.3 behind Dominic Singendink. James Allen entering the pits is P2. Rene Robertson entering the pits is 3rd. Jude Shepherd exiting pits on mediums. Brian Patterson entering the pits is P5. Rene Robertson is 4th. Barry Sale entering the pits is 17th. Jude Shepherd is P16. James Allen exiting pits on mediums. Rene Robertson exiting pits on mediums. Brian Patterson is 8th. Brian Patterson exiting pits on mediums. Barry Sale exiting pits on mediums. John Astrup in Andretti Hairpin is P9, 0.2 behind Brian Patterson. John Astrup was 17.3 faster last lap. Mag Arnold entering the pits is P13. Dominic Favagu on lap 16 is P7, 0.5 behind Rene Robertson. Dominic Favagu was 22.7 faster last lap. Mag Arnold exiting pits on mediums. Glenn Field in the corkscrew is 6th, 0.3 ahead of Dominic Favagu. Dominic Favagu is P7 on mediums, 0.4 behind Glenn Field. John Astrup in turn 11 is 9th, 0.4 behind Brian Patterson. Glenn Field in turn 3 is P6, 0.5 ahead of Dominic Favagu. Dominic Favagu was 0.8 faster last lap. Dominic Favagu on lap 17 is P7, 0.4 behind Glenn Field. Jimmy Bowe entering the pits is 14th. Glenn Field in Rahal Straight is 6th, 0.5 behind Rene Robertson. John Astrup in the corkscrew is P9, 0.5 behind Dominic Favagu. 15 minutes remaining in the session. Jimmy Bowe exiting pits on mediums. Glenn Field is P6, 0.3 behind Rene Robertson. Glenn Field was 2.2 faster last lap. John Astrup is P9, 0.4 behind Dominic Favagu. Rene Robertson is P5 with 70 kilos on mediums, 0.4 behind Martij Mol. Glenn Field on lap 18 is P6, 0.3 behind Rene Robertson. John Astrup in turn 6 is P8, 0.4 behind Dominic Favagu. John Astrup was 9.2 faster last lap. Rene Robertson is 5th on mediums, 0.3 behind Martij Mol. Glenn Field is P6, 0.3 behind Rene Robertson. Richard Perkins in turn 11 is 11th, 0.3 behind Dominic Favagu. Dominic Favagu in Andretti hairpin is P11, 0.1 behind Richard Perkins. Dominic Favagu passed Richard Perkins for P10. Richard Perkins is P11. Best lap is a 1:26.031. 0.114 off the fastest lap. Mag Arnold is 14th, 0.2 behind Robert Cormack. Mag Arnold was 1.4 faster last lap. Robert Cormack in Andretti hairpin is P14, 0.4 behind Mag Arnold. Glenn Field is 5th, 0.4 behind ReneRmotorsport. Ian Weeks in the corkscrew is 18th on mediums. Glenfield is 5th with 10 kilos, 0.3 behind ReneRmotorsport. Richard Perkins is P10, 0.9 behind Dominic Ferrari. Rene Robertson in turn 11 is 6th, 0.1 behind Glenfield. Rene Robertson passed Glenfield for P5. Glenfield in Andretti hairpin is 6th, 0.5 behind Rene Robertson. Ten minutes remaining in the session. Richard Perkins in Andretti hairpin is P9, 0.9 behind Dominic Ferrari. Glenfield in the corkscrew is 6th, 0.6 behind Rene Robertson. Richard Perkins in the corkscrew is P9 on mediums, 0.4 behind Dominic Ferrari. Richard Perkins passed Dominic Ferrari for 8th. Glenfield in Andretti hairpin is 6th, 0.5 behind Rene Robertson. Rene Robertson in turn 5 is 5th, 0.5 behind ReneRmotorsport. Glenfield in the corkscrew is 6th. Best lap is a 1:26.528. 0.611 off the fastest lap. Rene Robertson is P5, 0.1 behind ReneRmotorsport. Glenfield is P6 battling Rene Robertson. Glenfield passed Rene Robertson for P5. Rene Robertson is P6, 0.3 behind Glenfield. Rene Robertson passed Glenfield for P5. Glenfield is 6th. Glenfield lost 6th to John Astrup. Richard Perkis is 9th, 0.2 behind Dominic Favagyu. Dominic Favagyu in the corkscrew is P8, 1.2 ahead of Richard Perkis. Richard Perkis in turn 11 is 9th. Dominic Favagyu in turn 3 is 8th, 1.8 ahead of Richard Perkis. Five minutes remaining in the session. Richard Perkis is 9th with 10 kilos, 2.5 behind Dominic Favagyu. Dominic Favagyu is 8th, 1.0 behind John Astrup. Doug Crosby is P12, 2.8 behind David Forsyth. Dominic Favagyu is 8th. Best lap is a 1:26.494. 0.577 off the fastest lap. Doug Crosby is 12th, 2.3 behind David Forsyth. Doug Crosby was 1.9 faster last lap. Dominic Favagyu in turn 10 is P8, 0.5 behind John Astrup. Doug Crosby in turn 10 is 12th, 1.6 behind David Forsyth. Dominic Favagyu in turn 5 is P8. Doug Crosby is 12, 0.9 behind David Forsyth. Dominic Favagu is P8, 0.4 behind John Astrup. James Allen in turn 6 is P3, 1.0 behind Daniel Handke. Dominic Favagu is 8. Doug Crosby in turn 3 is 12, 0.5 behind David Forsyth. Doug Crosby was 0.6 faster last lap. Dominic Favagu is 8, 0.3 behind John Astrup. James Allen is 3rd, 0.5 behind Daniel Handke. Dominic Favagu is 8th, 0.5 behind John Astrup. James Allen in Rahal Straight is P3, 0.4 behind Daniel Handke. Dominic Favagu is 8th, 0.8 behind John Astrup. Dominic Singenin entering the pits is P1. David Forsyth entering the pits is P6. James Allen is 3rd. Barry Sale in the corkscrew is P16, 0.5 behind Jimmy Bowe. Barry Sale was 1.6 faster last lap. Barry Sale passed Jimmy Bowe for P15. Jimmy Bowe in turn 10 on lap 27 is P16, 0.4 behind Barry Sale. Jimmy Bowe passed Barry Sale for P15. James Allen in Rene curve is 3rd on mediums, 0.4 behind Daniel Handke. Barry Sale entering the pits is P16. The leader has just finished the race. Daniel Handke finished 1st. James Allen finished P2. Marty Jumel finished 3rd. Rene Robertson finished P4. Mag Arnold finished 12th. Glenn Field finished P5. John Astrup finished P6. Robert Cormack finished P13. Richard Perkins finished P7. Dominic Favagu finished P8. Ian Weeks finished P17. Brian Patterson finished 9th. Jimmy Bowe finished 14th. Doug Crosby finished P10. Jude Shepherd finished 15th. The race session is at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in Monterey, USA. The wind speed is 14 km/h from the north-northeast. Doug Crosby is P1. Brian Patterson is P2 with 10 kilos on mediums. Dominic Favagio is third with 10 kilos on mediums. Richard Perkis is P4 with 10 kilos on mediums. John Astrup is P5 with 50 kilos on hards. Glenn Field is 6th with 10 kilos on mediums. Rene Robertson is P7 with 70 kilos on mediums. Martin Moll is P8 with 70 kilos on hards. James Allen is P9 with 50 kilos on hards. Daniel Handke is 10th with 70 kilos on hards. Mag Arnold is 11th on mediums. Robert Cormack is P12 on mediums. Jimmy Bowe is 13th on mediums. Jude Shepard is P14 on mediums. David Forsyth is 15th with 10 kilos on hards. Ian Weeks entering the pits is P19. 40 minutes remaining in the session. Race start. Doug Crosby is P1. Jimmy Bowe is P13. Jimmy Bowe passed Doug Crosby for second. Marcus Singendon is 16th on mediums. Marcus Singendon passed David Forsyth for 15. Martin Moll is 12th. Daniel Handke is P14. Marcus Singendon in turn 4 is 17th. Jimmy Bowe is P2. Doug Crosby in Ray Harl Straight is P5 on hards. Brian Patterson in the Corkscrew is P6. John Astrup is P9, 0.5 behind Richard Perkis. Daniel Handke is P14, 0.4 behind James Allen. Doug Crosby is 5th, 0.1 behind Mag Arnold. Doug Crosby is now 4th. Brian Patterson in turn 3 is P5, 0.4 ahead of Mag Arnold. Dominic Favaggu is P6 on mediums, 0.3 behind Brian Patterson. John Astrup in turn 6 is 8th, 0.4 behind Richard Perkins. ReneRmotorsport-Assetto in the corkscrew is P10, 0.3 behind Glenfield. ReneRmotorsport-Assetto is now 7th. Brian Patterson is 16th, 0.2 behind Richard Perkins. Brian Patterson is now P13. Marty Jewell is P7, 0.2 behind James Allen. Dominic Favaggu entering the pits is P15. David Forsyth entering the pits is P16. Marty Jewell passed James Allen for P6. James Allen in turn 3 is 7th battling ReneRmotorsport-Assetto. 35 minutes remaining in the session. Brian Patterson in turn 4 is 13th on mediums, 0.3 behind ReneRmotorsport-Assetto. David Forsyth exiting pits on hards. Glenfield in Ray Harle Straight is 3rd with 10 kilos, 0.4 behind Jimmy Bowe. Glenfield was 2.5 faster last lap. Dominic Favaggu exiting pits on hards. Glenfield is now P1. Robert Cormack is P3. James Allen in turn 11 is 5th, 0.4 behind Robert Cormack. James Allen was 2.3 faster last lap. Robert Cormack is 5th battling James Allen. Marcus Singendink in Andretti Hairpin is 9th, 0.4 behind Jimmy Bowe. ReneRmotorsport-Assetto in turn 4 is P10. Best lap is a 1:33.512. 4.350 off the fastest lap. David Forsyth entering the pits is P16. ReneRmotorsport-Assetto passed Marcus Singendink for P9. Marcus Singendink in turn 6 is P11, 0.2 ahead of Brian Patterson. David Forsyth exiting pits on hards. Brian Patterson in the corkscrew is P12, 0.2 ahead of John Astrup. Brian Patterson lost 12 to John Astrup. Mag Arnold in turn 11 on lap 4 is P6, 0.3 behind Barry Sale. Mag Arnold was 0.9 faster last lap. Marcus Singendink is P10, 0.5 behind Richard Perkins. Brian Patterson is P13. Best lap is a 1:29.278. 2.086 off the fastest lap. Robert Cormack in turn 5 on lap 5 is P8, 0.3 behind Rene Robertson. Daniel Hank in the corkscrew is second on hards, 0.5 behind Glenn Field. Richard Perkins in Rene curve is P9, 0.4 behind Robert Cormack. Richard Perkins was 3.3 faster last lap. John Astrup is P11. Marta Jamal is 4th, 0.5 behind James Allen. Rene Robertson is 6th, 0.1 behind Barry Sale. Barry Sale in turn 5 is 6th on mediums. Best lap is a 1:29.243. 2.488 off the fastest lap. Mag Arnold in Ray Harle Straight is P7, 0.3 behind Barry Sale. 30 minutes remaining in the session. Mag Arnold passed Barry Sale for P6. Marcus Singendink in Rene curve is 10th, 0.4 ahead of John Astrup. John Astrup in turn 11 is 11th, 0.3 behind Marcus Singendink. Doug Crosby is 14th on hards, 0.2 behind Jimmy Bowe. Doug Crosby passed Jimmy Bowe for 13th. Jimmy Bowe is 14th, 0.3 behind Doug Crosby. Brian Patterson in turn 5 on lap 7 is P12, 0.3 behind John Astrup. Marcus Singendink in Ray Harle Straight on lap 7 is P10, 0.4 behind Robert Cormack. Marcus Singendink lost 10th to John Astrup. Brian Patterson is 12th, 0.2 behind Marcus Singendink. Daniel Hank in turn 3 is P2, 0.3 behind Glenn Field. Barry Sale in Andretti hairpin is P9, 0.1 behind Robert Cormack. Barry Sale lost P11 to Brian Patterson. Barry Sale lost P12 to Doug Crosby. Daniel Hank in turn 6 is P2. Best lap is a 1:26.381. John Astrup is P9, 0.3 behind Robert Cormack. Daniel Hank in turn 11 on lap 8 is P2, 0.5 behind Glenn Field. Robert Cormack entering the pits is P3. Marcus Singenden in turn 10 is 10th, 0.5 behind John Astrup. Daniel Hank is P2, 0.4 behind Glenn Field. Marty Jamal is 4th, 0.3 behind James Allen. Daniel Hank in Ray Harl Straight is P2, 0.4 behind Glenn Field. Richard Perkins in Ray Harl Straight is 7th, 0.5 behind Mag Arnold. Brian Patterson on lap 9 is P10, 0.1 behind Marcus Singenden. Richard Perkins on lap 9 is P7, 0.2 behind Mag Arnold. 25 minutes remaining in the session. Richard Perkins passed Mag Arnold for P6. Mag Arnold in Andretti hairpin is P7, 0.3 behind Richard Perkins. Richard Perkins was 0.7 faster last lap. Brian Patterson in turn 3 is P10, 0.4 behind Marcus Singenden. Daniel Hank in the corkscrew is 2nd, 0.5 behind Glenn Field. Marty Jamal in turn 10 is 4th with 70 kilos, 0.5 behind James Allen. Brian Patterson in Rene curve on lap 10 is P10, 0.3 behind Marcus Singenden. Brian Patterson was 0.8 faster last lap. David Forsyth entering the pits is P16. Brian Patterson lost P10 to Doug Crosby. Daniel Hank is 2nd, 0.5 behind Glenn Field. Marty Jamal in turn 5 on lap 11 is 4th, 0.4 behind James Allen. Brian Patterson exiting pits on mediums. Daniel Hank in Ray Harl Straight is P2. Marty Jamal is 4th. Daniel Hank in Andretti hairpin is P2, 0.5 behind Glenn Field. Marty Jamal is 4th, 0.5 behind James Allen. Daniel Hank is P2 on hards, 0.1 behind Glenfield. Martin Moll in Rene curve is P4, 0.7 behind James Allen. Daniel Hank is P2 with 70 kilos, 0.5 behind Glenfield. John Astrup is 8th, 0.5 behind Mag Arnold. Daniel Hank in turn 4 is P2, 0.3 behind Glenfield. Martin Moll in turn 5 is P4, 0.5 behind James Allen. .20 remaining in the session. Daniel Hank in the corkscrew on lap 13 is P2, 0.3 behind Glenfield. Jude Shepherd entering the pits is P14. Martin Moll in turn 10 is 4th, 0.4 behind James Allen. Glenfield entering the pits is P2. Rene Robertson entering the pits is 5th. Jude Shepherd exiting pits on mediums. Martin Moll is now 3rd. Mag Arnold in turn 10 is P9, 0.8 behind Marcus Singendink. Glenfield exiting pits on mediums. Martin Moll is 3rd, 0.2 behind James Allen. Rene Robertson exiting pits on mediums. Rene Robertson and Andretti Hairpin is P9. Best lap is a 1:25.911. Barry Sale entering the pits is 12th. Martin Moll in Ray Harl straight on lap 14 is 3rd, 0.1 behind James Allen. Mag Arnold is P9, 0.3 behind Rene Robertson. Barry Sale exiting pits on mediums. Martin Moll is 3rd, 0.2 behind James Allen. Richard Perkins entering the pits is P5. Martin Moll passed James Allen for P2. James Allen is 3rd. Best lap is a 1:26.967. 1.056 off the fastest lap. Richard Perkins exiting pits on mediums. Rene Robertson in turn 3 is P7, 1.5 behind Marcus Singendink. James Allen in Rene curve is 3rd, 0.8 behind Martin Moll. Doug Crosby in Rene curve is P9, 1.4 behind Mag Arnold. Mag Arnold entering the pits is 9th. Doug Crosby passed Mag Arnold for P8. Rene Robertson in Andretti hairpin is P7, 1.2 behind Marcus Singendink. Mag Arnold exiting pits on mediums. James Allen in Rahal Straight is 3rd, 1.4 behind Martij Mol. Rene Robertson in Corkscrew is 7th, 0.8 behind Marcus Singendink. Jude Shepherd entering the pits is 14th. 15 minutes remaining in the session. Brian Patterson in Rahal Straight is 11th, 1.5 behind Mag Arnold. Marcus Singendink is 8th battling Doug Crosby. Marcus Singendink passed Doug Crosby for 7th. Doug Crosby on lap 17 is P8, 0.5 behind Marcus Singendink. Dominic Favagyu is 13th with 10 kilos on hards, 0.9 behind Jimmy Bowe. Brian Patterson in Rahal Straight is 11th, 1.3 behind Mag Arnold. Jimmy Bowe is 13th, 0.5 behind Dominic Favagyu. Dominic Favagyu in Rene curve is P13 battling Jimmy Bowe. Brian Patterson is 11th, 0.5 behind Mag Arnold. Jimmy Bowe entering the pits is P12. Doug Crosby is 8th, 1.3 behind Marcus Singendink. Jimmy Bowe exiting pits on mediums. Brian Patterson in Rene curve is 11th, 0.5 behind Mag Arnold. Brian Patterson was 1.3 faster last lap. Doug Crosby in turn 4 is P8, 1.2 behind Marcus Singenden. Brian Patterson in turn 3 is 11th, 0.5 behind Mag Arnold. Doug Crosby in Rene curve is 8th, 1.0 behind Marcus Singenden. Brian Patterson is 11th, 1.8 behind Mag Arnold. 10 minutes remaining in the session. Doug Crosby is P8, 1.5 behind Marcus Singenden. Doug Crosby lost 8th to Richard Perkins. Rene Robertson is 6th, 1.3 behind John Astrup. Daniel Hank in turn 3 is P3, 2.4 behind James Allen. Rene Robertson is 6th, 0.9 behind John Astrup. Daniel Hank in turn 10 is 3rd. Rene Robertson in turn 10 on lap 21 is 6th, 0.5 behind John Astrup. Rene Robertson was 1.2 faster last lap. Daniel Hank in turn 4 is 3rd, 1.5 behind James Allen. Rene Robertson in turn 4 is 6th, 0.3 behind John Astrup. Daniel Hank in Rene curve is P3, 0.7 behind James Allen. Rene Robertson in turn 10 is P6, 0.5 behind John Astrup. Daniel Hank is third with 70 kilos, 0.2 behind James Allen. Rene Robertson in turn 3 is 6th, 0.5 behind John Astrup. Daniel Hank in Rahal Straight is third, 0.1 behind James Allen. James Allen is third, 0.1 behind Daniel Hank. Five minutes remaining in the session. John Astrup in Rene Curve is 6th, 0.5 behind Rene Robertson. James Allen is third, 0.9 behind Daniel Hank. John Astrup is 6th, 0.5 behind Rene Robertson. Glenfield in Rahal Straight is 4th. Best lap is a 1:26.380. 0.469 off the fastest lap. Glenfield passed Daniel Hank for third. John Astrup in Rene Curve is P6 with 50 kilos, 1.0 behind Rene Robertson. Richard Perkins in turn 10 is P8, 1.5 behind Marcus Singenden. Richard Perkins was 0.6 faster last lap. John Astrup is P6, 0.9 behind Rene Robertson. Richard Perkins in turn 5 is 8th, 0.5 behind Marcus Singenden. John Astrup in turn 11 is P6, 1.5 behind Rene Robertson. Richard Perkins is 8th, 0.5 behind Marcus Singenden. Marcus Singenden in Andretti hairpin is 8th, battling Richard Perkis. Brian Patterson in Andretti hairpin is 11th, 1.3 behind Mag Arnold. Marcus Singenden in the corkscrew is P8, 0.7 behind Richard Perkis. Richard Perkis was 0.9 faster last lap. John Astrup is P6, 1.7 behind Rene Robertson. Rene Robertson in Rahal Straight is 5th, 1.5 behind Daniel Hand. John Astrup in turn 10 is P6 on hards, 1.8 behind Rene Robertson. Rene Robertson in Andretti hairpin is P5, 1.2 behind Daniel Hand. John Astrup in turn 5 is 6th, 2.0 behind Rene Robertson. The leader has just finished the race. Martin Moll finished P1. James Allen finished P2. Dominic Favagyu finished P12. Glenn Field finished 3rd. Daniel Handke finished P4. John Astrup finished P5. Rene Robertson finished P6. Richard Perkis is 7th. Richard Perkis finished P7. Marcus Singenden finished 8th. Barry Sale finished 13th. Doug Crosby finished P9. Jimmy Bowe finished 14th. Mag Arnold finished P10. Brian Patterson finished P11.